Don't care how, I want it now. Don't care how, I want it now.
She was a bad egg.
I would totally
would
ground her.
do that in
She
our
would
house.
never come
No
out of her
way,
room,
no how.
never see the light of day again.
The strongest influence in your child's life wins. Is that you?
I'm Brad Zood, and this is Influencer Parenting.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Real Parenting Experts React to the movies, right? And today we have a fantastic one, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And if this is your first time to the channel, welcome. I'm Brad Zood with my lovely wife, Miss Greta, who's 8.5 months pregnant. And we're going to be going over Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory today. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell. Don't miss another minute. And be sure to watch this whole video as we dissect the parenting in this movie, because at the end, we're going to tell you exactly how we would deal with not only each child in the video, but some advice that we would say to their parents as well if we had a couple minutes with them to set them straight as well. So stay to the end and let's do this. In case you've never ever seen Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory before, let me give you a quick synopsis. In this 1971 cult classic, we see a story about a young boy named Charlie Bucket who lives with his widowed mother and bedridden grandparents.
Well, they're certainly taking bed sharing to a whole new level. It's kind of weird.
It's kind of weird. I love my grandparents and everything, but like sleeping in there?
No.
Who, after purchasing multiple Wonka bars, finds one of 5 golden tickets granting him and a guest, along with the other winners, entrance into Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory.
Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination.
And by guess, we mean heinous, rebellious children and the world's worst parents.
So let's break down not only the 5 characters, but their parents as well.
So first up to bat, our first victim, Augustus Gloop. Let's take a look at him and his mother.
Can't drink it all.
Augustus, sweetheart, save some room for later.
Augustus, please, don't do that. My chocolate must never be touched by human hands. Please, don't do that. Don't do that. You're contaminating my entire river. Please, I beg you, Augustus.
Yeah, so first up here we have the mom. And she doesn't right off the bat seem really like a bad mom.
She's not that bad.
Like, you know, she's caring for her son. She's making sure he saves some room for later.
Yeah, can't eat everything.
Know? And but the problem here is their respect for someone else's property and their respect for the authority that they're under at this moment.
Their lack of respect.
Their lack of respect.
Yes.
And you don't see Augustus or his mother even flinch when Willy Wonka comes and says, "Don't do that, don't do that, please stop." Neither of them do a single thing. And you can see that she has taught her son to disrespect or disregard any sort of authority by her reaction. She's not doing anything, and her only concern is his stomach.
And they probably ruined like thousands of dollars worth of chocolate that's been touched by human hands. You can't have that.
Gross.
Next up to the plate, we have Violet Beauregarde, champion gum chewer in this classic scene. Let's take a look.
I don't care.
Oh, I wouldn't do that. I really wouldn't.
So long as it's gum, then that's for me.
Violet, now don't you do anything stupid. Stop.
Delicious.
Don't.
Why doesn't she listen to Mr. Wonka?
Because, Charlie, she's a nitwit.
You sure?
Violet, you're turning violet, Violet.
What are you talking about?
So here we have Violet, who is an obvious sass.
It's
and
bad.
she's exhibiting behavior that we wouldn't tolerate in a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about snatching with 2-year-olds and how that's not appropriate to snatch from someone's hands.
She's acting way under her age.
Yeah, and there she is, just taking something out of Willy Wonka's hand, and not appropriate at all. Now, the one thing I will say is that her father gives her a warning don't do anything stupid. I think
he's a little too late on that one, but
well,
his intentions are good.
Yeah, and he's not so much concerned about Violet's respect for authority and her respect for Willy Wonka as he is concerned for her safety. So, but at least he gives her a warning here.
Yep.
Now, I will say that she is being wise in her own eyes. It's something that we call being wise in your own eyes. She is given a warning and disregarding that warning. And what does it get her? Consequence. Yeah. And so to talk about her dad now, not just his lack of respect for Willy Wonka and his things, but he doesn't follow through. You know, he gives her that warning, but never requires her to stop doing what she's doing, never requires her to listen to his
abide by the guidelines, and then goes on to blame Wonka for the gum.
Exactly.
And
Yes,
just
it's all his
classic
fault.
terrible parenting.
Yes.
Next up, it's the one we've all been waiting for, as if it couldn't get any better, Miss Veruca Salt.
Yeah, I don't know about better. I think we're getting worse.
This is the worst by far. So y'all know the classic scene. She wants a goose to lay what? Gold eggs for Easter. Let's take a look.
Oh, I want one of those.
Wonka, how much do you want for the golden goose?
They're not for sale.
Name your price.
She can't have one.
Who says I can't?
The man with a funny hat.
I want one. I want a golden goose.
Okay.
Let's dive in. How much time do we have?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of want to sing the song. I want it now.
Yeah.
But so we have the classic spoiled, discontent child. And her parents, her father, namely in this movie, has trained her to be discontent by giving her absolutely everything that she wants. And, you know, he has a moment in here. We didn't show the clip, but he has a moment in, we'll get it when we get home. And
he tries, to soften the blow.
Yeah, but she says, no, I want it now. And he's trained her in this. He's taught her by giving her everything that she wants to be discontent. And the result of that is that we're not content with anything.
Let alone having a father that says, money is no object. Whatever you want, money is no object.
Yeah.
Wow. Batting in the fourth position, Mike Teevee. Now, here's a spunky little rambunctious guy that, now we have 7 kids going on 8, but every family, no matter how big the size, seems to have a Mike Teevee in them somehow. Let's take a look.
Look at me. I'm going to be the first person in the world to be sent by television.
Hey, get away from that thing!
Stop, don't come back.
Lights, camera, action!
I love before you go, I love how big of a troll that Gene Wilder is in this movie. He's like, oh, stop. No, don't. He's so funny in that regard. But tell us about Mike Teevee.
All right. So, he's definitely a wild child. Yes. He is a wild child.
Out of control.
Right. And the mom tries to combat that a little bit with her, and she's like, it seems like she's actually trying to do something. However, does he do anything about that? Does he stop what he's doing? Does he listen?
Right.
He never does.
Right.
So even though she is continually giving instruction, it's in the wrong way. And there haven't ever been any consequences for that, which is evident by his reaction to his mother's instruction. And he totally ignores her.
Yeah. And some of you might be thinking like, oh my gosh, that's me. Like, I've tried everything. What's going on? We have to find good tools that work. Our consequences have to be deterrents, and we have to be willing to do different things if we want to get different results. And if we had 30 seconds with this mom, that's what we would tell her, and we would fix Mike Teevee pretty quickly. And lastly, Charlie Bucket, the star of the show, and Grandpa. But let's take a look at this scene with Grandpa and see what his parenting is all about.
You stole fizzy lifting drinks. You bumped into the ceiling, which now has to be washed and sterilized so you get Nothing.
You're a cheat and a swindler. That's what you are. How can you do a thing like this?
Okay. So we have earlier in the movie, Charlie and Grandpa stole a fizzy lifting drink and they went on a fun little ride and they clearly disobeyed the rules.
Shouldn't have done that.
Shouldn't have done it at all. And Charlie was showing some remorse in this clip right here and you know was really afraid of what he heard Mr. Wonka saying. But what did Grandpa do?
He calls him a crook. He blames someone else for his clear, like Wonka couldn't have been more clear that, hey, you big dummy, you did exactly what you were not supposed to do. You stole, you trespassed, whatever.
Right.
And you shouldn't have done that.
Right. And Grandpa isn't being a very good example of humility and repentance for what you have done wrong.
Gosh, Mr. Wonka, you're right. Geez, will you forgive us for stealing and all that kind of stuff?
Right. He blames someone else.
Not a good role model for Charlie.
Nope.
So shines a good deed in a weary world.
Charlie. My boy. You won! You did it! You did it! I knew you would! I just knew you would!
Okay, so here, I admire that Charlie is showing that remorse, and he did something to make up for what he did, right? He doesn't. Grandpa says we're gonna go give Slugworth his gobstopper, and we're gonna get back at Willy Wonka, and Charlie says no. And he gives it back to Wonka.
Yeah, the most adult person in the whole movie is not actually an adult.
Right. However, I think it comes up short of what we actually want from our kids, right? So I want, when my child does something wrong, or I do something wrong, there needs to be that repentance, that recognition of what you did do wrong, not just a token of, oh man,
I need to make this right somehow.
To make this right. Yeah, I'm gonna throw this out there and hope that this makes this person, not so mad at me anymore.
Right. So if Greta and I have an argument and I yell and scream at her, but then I go buy her flowers, we still have to go and unpack and ask forgiveness for yelling and screaming.
Exactly. So while he does try and make up for it, I think it does fall short of what we would expect from our children.
And I don't yell at Greta, and she doesn't like flowers. She's much more of a chocolate cake kind of gal to begin with.
I'm both. Can I have both?
I better bring both. All right, so here's the moment you've all been waiting for. How would we deal with each individual character on the deal? All right, Augustus Gloop.
Okay.
What do you do?
So, and I just want to state for the record, the movie knows that these kids are bad, and the movie actually says, it's the mother and the father's fault. But maybe how we would teach parents to react to their children or train their children, and is maybe different from what you might see other places. So, Augustus, first of all, I would say, mother, you need to work on your respect of others, and you need to be aware. And if you hear someone who is in authority correcting your child needs to be corrected, and you need to follow through with that. So, let's see, Augustus, what should
no desserts and no chocolate. He loses dessert privilege for a while.
Yeah, for sure.
Lots of physical activity.
Every time,
check a couple pounds.
Yeah, every time he ignores an instruction or is disrespectful to someone or his parents or his things or whatever, I would say, you know what? You go run 5 laps around the house.
Yep. There you go. There you'd have it.
Yeah.
That'll teach him.
Yeah. Or maybe we can, have him write sentences. That's a really good one. That's an oldie. It's an oldie, but it's a good one.
But a good one. Violet Beauregarde.
Violet.
The gum chewer.
The sassy gum chewer.
The Miss Sassy Pants.
Violet has a clear idolatry of gum. Clearly. Yes. And
so no gum for sure.
No gum for Violet. For her father, I think he needs a lesson in what is respectful and what's not, and what he needs to be training his daughter in. So is it just for her well-being, or is it for her heart attitude towards other people, right? So he needs to be training her heart and her responses towards others, and not just worried about the consequence of her actions. Okay. So for Violet, definitely loss of privilege. That's going to be your consequence. No more gum.
Well, Miss Veruca Salt, do we even have time? Like, is the electric chair, is that like too over the top? Like,
she just makes you go, ugh, ugh. Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, I think that she needs a complete reboot. She's the one that's obviously the most far gone, and she needs a total breakdown and a complete rebuild up. And one of the ways that we do this, whether you have a toddler or a teenager, is we take away all choices. So we're talking about what she wears when she gets up in the morning, the color cup that she drinks out of for breakfast, the toys that she plays with, the books that she reads, all that kind of stuff. She has to be put in her place.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's like she gets 2 outfits, to go back and forth between, to wash between. She doesn't get any options at all. And I think that when we're given so much, we'd never learn that contentment. So taking away those choices, taking away all of those things that have her want more and more and more and more and more, are going to help her to see what she actually does have.
Yep. Because she's been living in a world with a parent that's just completely been enabling this whole deal, and it's clear he's created a monster.
I can't even talk about her dad. I mean, it's so awful. It's so awful. But let's bring up the flesh monster. I mean, she has a clear flesh monster. Yep. We talk about this with our kids a lot, the flesh monster, and how there is something inside of us that says, I want more, I want more, I want more, I want more.
Gotta have it.
And
the flesh is never satisfied.
The flesh is never satisfied. And she is such a depiction of the flesh monster. And she has become the total flesh monster. Some kids, it comes out sometimes, but for her, she's been engulfed by the flesh monster.
She needs Jesus.
So she needs Jesus, and the flesh monster needs to be mortified.
All right, Mike Teevee. What are we going to do with Mike Teevee?
Oh,
probably more of his mother.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So I think Mike Teevee's mom, she is the classic threatening, repeating parent.
There you go. Nailed it.
She's the parent that yells and yells and yells and gives her son instruction, but she never follows through with any type of consequence, never makes him do anything. So he completely disregards anything that she says. So I think, well, for Mike Teevee, one thing is he needs a lot of exercise.
He's going to run around. Take a lap.
He needs a lot of physical exercise to help him tame his energy. And
his wiggles. Well, got to get his wiggles out and learn how to tame them.
And now that I'm saying that, though, if he sits in front of the TV for 12 hours, of course he's going to have a lot of wiggles when he's done. Yeah. Right?
So no TV for sure.
That's too stimulating for him. He needs to be outside. He needs to be exploring. He needs to be riding his bike. And then his mom, who gives him instruction, needs to be following through with consequences. And a great consequence, I think, for Mike Teevee would be to exercise, to run stairs, to run laps around the house, and that kind of thing. So anytime he's not listening, okay, a couple laps around the house. All right. 10 stairs up and down.
Yep.
Anytime he's not listening. So that will teach him, that will train him that, oh, I need to listen. I need to pay attention to instruction, instead of his mother just constantly giving the instruction and it being totally ignored.
Yeah.
And in our parenting, that is the thing that leads parents to yell at their kids, abuse their kids, is that constant instruction that is completely ignored.
Yep. It's all about her anger, right? So it's just anger parenting, anger. Well, I have to yell more if I really want to get more and more. And then it's just boom, blows up, and then something bad happens.
Yep, for sure. So we need to deal with the issues as they come, right as they come.
Mm-hmm. And we don't have to be angry or yell if we actually just follow through on what we say we're going to do. Really, really simple.
Yeah, and it's a more peaceful home that way.
Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so last but certainly not least, Charlie Bucket, the man himself. Now, I think we have to keep in mind he's a little bit different because Grandpa Joe, listen, he's a crippled old man who sits in bed with other old people, and he's not his father. You know, Charlie's mother was widowed, and so he's doing the best he can. He's a father figure, but not the father. So Charlie's got a great foundation. You know, he's got a great foundation. He was led astray by Grandpa in this one, who might be kind of a grown-up version of a Mike Teevee or something himself. But Charlie has, you can definitely tell that he is a bucket ready to receive water. He's moldable. He's able to be shaped. And I think if Grandpa Joe just had a little bit more skill, he'd be able to pour into Charlie a little bit more. But Charlie's obviously the kid that you'd want out of all those, that's for sure.
Which is the moral of the movie too, is that, you know, Charlie's pure heart is what won him that competition.
This is a parenting movie. Like, that's why we chose this one. It's all about like all these kids and the negative effects of these bad behavior and bad behavior disorders that are personified uniquely and individually in the 5 characters. And we see Charlie coming out on top.
Right. And as far as a worldly moral foundation, I think he's got that. He's missing some biblical foundation.
But we'll get there. We'll get there.
He needs some, theology behind his parenting.
There you go. All right. So anyways, we digress. What's the punishment for Charlie?
Yeah. So I think the punishment is actually just going back and seeking forgiveness and seeking the restoration. Yes, I did this wrong. Please forgive me. Not, I'm sorry, but please, will you forgive me?
Yep. Right the wrong that I did.
Right. And what do I need to do for you?
What do I need to do to make this right?
Right. And so I think that he showed remorse. He showed that he knew he was wrong, but he just lacked the next steps. So I don't think it needs any further consequence. It just, he needs to be driven back to what he needs to do to make that, to restore that relationship.
Yep. Good. All right. So what I think is most interesting about this movie is that they actually serve up a pretty big dig to parents in one of the Oompa Loompa songs. And I think it's really the point of the movie. And for you, mom and dad, listen, if you're discontent with your parenting, if you feel like you're yelling and nagging and threatening and repeating, or you're not happy with your child's behavior, one of the things that you have to remember is it's your job to lead and guide and train your children. And here at Influencer Parenting, the strongest influence in the life of your child wins. And we're here to help that be you. So we're going to play you that Oompa Loompa song. We're going to deliver you the main lesson of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. So let's take a watch, and we'll see you on the next one.
Oompa Loompa Doompa Dee Dee. If you are wise, you'll listen to me. Who do you blame when your kid is up? Rat, pampered and spoiled like a Siamese cat. Blaming the kids is a lie and a shame. You know exactly who's to blame. The mother and the father. Oompa Loompa Doompa Dee Da. If you're not spoiled, then you will go far. You will live in happiness too. Like the Oompa Loompa Doompa Dee.